Consortium that runs the wellness program. Thanks, Jess. Always got me back here for reports. And throughout the year, we host different events, webinars, challenges to try to get you thinking about healthy living, thinking about ways to incorporate wellness into your everyday. So I did want to do a shameless plug here before I turn it over to Torie. We do have upcoming in February, we're hosting a Menopause 101 webinar with another provider. We also have a 10-day plant-based food challenge where we're going to provide recipes and interaction via email throughout that week to see if you can go 10 days with only a plant-based diet. So it's a little bit more challenging than you would think, but it's definitely eye-opening as well. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our guest presenter, Torie Ritter-Stephens. She's a PA who works for the Schuyler Hospital Primary Care. She's part of Centralus Health, and she's here today to talk about healthy living for each generation.
Hi, nice to see you all today. Thank you for the warm welcome. Let's get into it. So, an overview of the presentation today. First, we're going to start by talking about diet, exercise, mental health, and then screenings. It's important to know that all of these components work together in order for you to live a healthy life overall. So, for instance, your diet. A healthy diet throughout your life supports growth, energy, and overall health. Eating a balance of fruits, veggies, whole grains, proteins. They all help prevent disease and keep the body strong at every age. Exercise, regular exercise throughout your life. It supports your physical health, your mental well-being, and strength. Staying active, it helps build strong bones, muscles, it boosts your energy, and reduces the risk of disease at every age. Mental health. Good mental health throughout your life supports emotional well-being, learning, and resilience. Managing your stress, building positive relationships with others, and seeking support when needed. Again, help your health at every single age. And then screenings are very important too because they help to detect problems early, they prevent disease, and they support better treatment and long-term health. So let's get into it. I broke this up into different age groups. First, we'll start with babies and toddlers and the 0 to 3 years old range. So let's talk about diet. From 0 to 1 month, the primary nutrition for babies is breast milk or iron-fortified infant formula only. Usually we're feeding on demand here. This is anywhere from 8 to 12 times a day. We don't want to introduce water, juices, or solids at this point. And then if breastfeeding, we do want a vitamin D supplement to be incorporated as well. At the 2-month mark, we're still primarily doing breast milk and formula only for the primary nutrition. At this point, feeding should become slightly more predictable. We don't want solids or water at this point either. And then it's important to note that growth spurts may increase feedings frequency temporarily. At 4 months, primary nutrition is still the breast milk or formula. And it is optional at this point to begin single ingredient purees, iron fortified cereals, or pureed veggies. If babies show readiness signs for this. So some of the readiness signs are that they have good head control, they sit with support, and that they're showing interest in food. And it's okay if baby isn't ready at this point to try solids. We just want them to begin the solids between the 4 to 6 month mark. 6 month. So breast milk or formula are still the main source of calories, but we do want to have solids introduced by this point. We can have purees and soft mashed foods. You can begin trying common allergens, like such as peanut, egg, dairy, wheat, fish, but only one at a time. And we do not want mixtures of these either, because then it's hard to determine if baby does have an allergy, what they were allergic to. And then iron and zinc rich foods are important at this stage too. At 6 months, you can do small sips of water from an open straw, from an open cup, or from a straw as well. but still we want breast milk and formula to be the main source of calories. At 9 months, we can increase, we're still doing breast milk or formula. Solids, we can do 3 meals a day, 1 to 2 snacks. Finger foods are a major part of meals. We want soft meats, beans, eggs. We can do some dairy at this point too, but not milk as a drink yet. That's important to note. And then 12 months is it's a transition period typically. At this point, you can do the whole cow's milk to replace formula. Breastfeeding may continue as well. And then diet, we can do the 3 meals, 2 snacks. We want a variety of textures and flavors. And we want family foods with minimal salt and sugar combined. And it's important to note that before 12 months, we want to avoid honey because of the risk of botulism. So no honey before a year old. And then let's go into this more so. And I would just like to state that I have like specific daily amounts and sizes here, but these are all just general recommended guidelines. You don't have to stick to exactly what I'm saying here. These are just guidelines. So for milk and dairy, we want 16 to 24 ounces of milk total a day. Some good examples of this are whole milk from 1 to 2 years old. And then you can do whole or reduced fat milk from 2 to 3 years if advised. And yogurt and cheese. Grains, we want 3 to 5 servings. Some good examples here are oatmeal, rice, pastas, breads. Fruits, 1 to 1.5 cups. We want bananas, berries, applesauce, soft pears. And it's important to note here that there are some choking hazards. For example, grapes with the fruit. We want to cut up the grapes because they can be a choking hazard for children. Veggies, we want 1 to 1.5 cups a day. Some examples with that are steamed carrots, peas, broccoli. Protein, 2 to 3 servings. Eggs, beans, lentils. And then we want healthy fats included daily. Avocado is a great source. Olive oil, nut butters such as almond butter, thinly spread on bread or things like that, or banana. At this age, we want to offer new foods repeatedly. We want to try a new food about 10 to 15 times before we're letting the toddler say, yes, I like this, or no, I don't like this. And it's important to note that messy eating at this age is really helping them to build skills too. So it's important to let them try and feed themselves, even if it is a bit messy and it requires more cleanup afterwards. And you can think of diet for toddlers like with their portion sizes being about 1/4 to 1/2 of an adult portion. Okay, and then instead of doing specific like exercise for this age, that was a little difficult, so I figured that we go over milestones for babies. So from 0 to 1 month, some milestones that we're looking at for them are, at this point, we're really assessing feeding habits and weight gain. By 2 weeks maximum, we want the babies to be back to their birth weight, and that's maximum. And then we can start incorporating tummy time once their umbilical cord falls off. At 2 months, we want them to regard your face. We want them to smile. We want them to watch you as you move around. We want them to respond to sound. We want them to have equal movements with their arms and legs. And we want them to be able to hold their head up to about 45 degrees. At 4 months, we're looking at them to start the baby chuckles. If they're hungry, we're looking for them to open their mouth when seeing breast or bottle, depending if they're breastfed or bottle fed. They're starting to make these raspberry noises, and they can hold their head up to 90 degrees and they can steadily hold their head up. And then whenever they are on their tummy, they can push up to their elbows. At 6 months, they know familiar people, they laugh, they're exploring, they're putting things in their mouth. Whenever they're full, they're closing their lip to let you know that they're full. They're taking turns making sounds with you, and they can roll from their tummy to their back. At 9 months, they can play repetitive games. They are fearful around strangers. They have that stranger danger component. They're able to look for objects when dropped out of their sight. They can say mama, dada. They're able to sit by themselves, and they can use their fingers to rake food towards them. At 12 months, we're looking for them to play simple games, for example, like patty cake. They can begin drinking from a cup, even if it is messy. They understand the word no. They wave bye. They can pull themselves to a stand-up position, and then they've developed the pincer grasp, which is what we commonly refer to as being able to put the thumb and pointer finger together like this. Okay. And then at 15 months, they're able to copy others while playing with them. They're clapping when they get excited. They show you affection. They can stack at least 2 small objects together. They can say 2 to 3 words beyond mama, dada. They can take a few steps on their own, and they're using their fingers to actually feed themselves, not just raking it towards them. At 18 months, they help you dress them. They play with toys in a simple way. They're trying to say 3 or more words beyond mama, dada. They can follow 1-step directions. They can walk independently, and then at this point, they're trying to use a spoon. At 2 years, they should be able to notice when others are hurt or upset. They can play with more than 1 toy at a time. They can say at least 2 words together. They can run, kick a ball, and they should hopefully be able to eat with a spoon at this point. At 2.5 years, we want them playing with other children. They can follow 2-step instructions. They know at least 1 color. They have about 50 words in their vocabulary, and they can jump. And then at 3 years, we want them to be able to separate from mom for a period of time. This can help later on with any type of separation anxiety that they may have from a parent or guardian. They can use a fork now. They should be able to put on some clothing by themselves, even if it's not perfect. They should know their first and their last name. And they should generally talk well enough for others to understand most of the time what they're saying. And at 3 years, they can draw a circle. So mental health for this age. We're really supporting parental mental health because it's really inseparable from supporting the baby's mental health at this stage. Because when the parents are well, babies are able to thrive in emotionally, cognitively, and socially ways. And then families are able to build a strong foundation for lifelong well-being with this. So for example, I split this up into a couple different components, including social connection, mental stimulation, stress management, sleep health, emotional support, purpose and routine, and professional help. We can go over some of the tips for supporting parents and caregivers, and then how there are benefits to both parent and baby. So for example, for social connection, we want to build a support network of family, friends, and other caregivers. You can join parent groups or online communities, and it's important to ask for help with meals, childcare, and errands. And then this can help reduce parental isolation. It can increase your confidence in caregiving and strengthens the parent-child bonding. Mental stimulation. Read about child development and age-appropriate activities. This way that you have an idea of where your child should ideally be as well. And then it's important to play and talk with your baby daily and introduce simple games, songs, books to them. This is really going to help support parent confidence. It encourages brain and language development in baby, and it strengthens the parent-child interaction. Stress management. I think it's really important to practice brief relaxation techniques, such as deep breathing or meditation. Take small breaks when possible. I know that they typically say when baby's taking a nap, you take a nap just to give yourself that time to rest and recoup. And then share responsibilities with a partner or other support system. That way it's not all on one person. And this really helps to reduce parental stress and burnout. It improves patience and emotional availability with the baby, and it models healthy coping for baby. Sleep help. As I was saying before, sleep when the baby sleeps when possible. Accept help to catch up on your rest and develop a consistent bedtime routine for baby. This helps you maintain energy and your mood. It improves alertness and caregiving ability and supports baby's sleep and development. For emotional support, it's really important to talk about your feelings with your partner, friend, counselor, whoever you have in your life that you feel like you can talk to. Joining parent groups is very helpful for many people as well, because it's this people who are going through the same hardships as you. And it's important to acknowledge challenges and celebrate small successes. This can reduce feelings of anxiety and guilt. It helps to build resilience in parents, and it, again, improves this parent-child emotional connection. Purpose and routine. Create predictable routines for feeding, play, and sleep. Set small goals for daily caregiving tasks. And include enjoyable activities for parents as well. So exercise, your hobbies that you liked before having baby. This helps to provide structure and reduces overwhelm feelings, supports healthy habits for parents and child, and it builds confidence in caregiving. And then professional help. At this point, it's really important to attend the regular pediatric appointments. It's important to schedule postpartum checkups and mental health screenings for mom. And it's a great way to ask for advice about child development and behavior with a professional. This helps to ensure early detection of parental stress or postpartum challenges. It promotes healthy development for baby, and it encourages help seeking and self-care. There we go. All right, moving on to the preschoolers, 3 to 5. So diet for 3 to 5. And as you can see, a lot of these charts will also build on themselves too, because as we age, we're just continually building, right? So diet for 3 to 5. We are really supporting growth, brain development, and healthy eating habits without overcomplicating meals at this point. It's important to note that picky eating, it's normal at this age, and their appetite tends to change. You know, growth slows, so intake may decrease, or sometimes they may have growth spurts. It really depends on the child. So maybe they're increasing their amount too. We're really looking for balance over time. So we're looking at the whole week about how they ate, not just one meal. It's important to offer a variety, even if foods are refused at first. Like I said before, we really want to expose them to these foods like 10 to 15 times before it's a hard no or hard yes for them. We want to really allow the child to decide how much they want to eat and avoid forcing or bribing with food. It's helpful to keep meals predictable and snacks spaced out throughout the day. That way they're eating more at their actual meal times. And, you know, kids want to be involved. So involving kids in food prep, it really helps for better acceptance with the meals that they're going to eat too. And then I'm sure you can read over the chart here as well. Daily amounts and examples for the different food groups we have here. As you can see at this time, we're increasing the milk and dairy to 2 to 2.5 cups a day. Grains, 4 to 6 ounces. Fruits, 1 to 2 cups. Veggies, 1.5 to 2.5 cups. And you'll see that we typically want veggie consumption to be a little bit more than fruit consumption throughout the day too. And then we have protein, 3 to 5 ounces a day, and then we want healthy fats included daily. And like I said before, avocado is a really great form of this. Oops. Exercise at this point. At this age, at this age, exercise should not feel like exercise for them. We want this to feel like they're playing, right? And we don't want them to have like structured workouts at this point. And it's also really important, a good point to bring up about screen time. We want guidance with this. Ideally, I know that this is hard, but limiting screen time to less than an hour per day is really encouraged. And then encourage movement breaks too. So, for instance, if they're on a screen for 10, 15 minutes, maybe encourage them to get up and go do something else for a little bit and then return to that. Because movement is really more important than sedentary screen time at this point. And really throughout all ages, but it can be difficult sometimes. All right, so I have different categories here. So gross motor skills, examples of what they would be, what we want for a daily duration, frequency, and then tips to help along with this. So for gross motor skills, for example, this is really they're running, they're jumping, they're climbing. If they're riding a tricycle, they're dancing, they're kicking around, throwing balls. It can get messy, but it's all important for their development too. Daily duration, at least 1.5 hours. And we want this spread throughout the day, not all of like one burst. And we want this to be a focus on fun, variety, and outdoor play when possible. It also helps to keep your homes a little more clean whenever it's outdoor play. Balance and coordination. So standing on one foot, walking in a line. Hopscotch is great for this. I'm sure we all remember playing hopscotch as kids. Having them try different yoga poses with you if you're interested in yoga. We want this to be in about 15 to 30 minutes, just in short bursts throughout the day. And then this can help them prevent falls and improves their bodily awareness as they get older. Strength, body weight activities, such as animal walks. This is how you can make it really fun. You can say, oh, act like you're walking like a bear or a crab or doing frog jumps. You can have them pulling with toys, hanging on monkey bars, wheelbarrow walks with other people or yourself. We want this to be about 15 to 30 minutes throughout the day. And then we want to encourage safe play here too. No heavy weights, just body weight. And this really helps them to build confidence as well. Fine motor and hand-eye coordination, such as catching large balls at this point, throwing at targets, playing with balloons, trying to keep the balloon up in the air as long as possible, obstacle courses with like just small tasks. And a lot of that can be integrated into their daily play. And then again, this supports coordination and prepares for writing skills too. And then active play, fun games. Follow the leaders, always fun. Red light, green light, scavenger hunts, dance parties. We're recommending multiple short sessions throughout the day of this kind of thing. And then it keeps the activity playful, right? And it prevents them from getting bored throughout the day. It helps their imagination. And then it is important for them to learn calm activities and stretching, such as yoga, slow dancing, things like that. Things to help them like for transition times and winding down for bed. And ideally this would be about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, and then mental health at this age. So supporting mental health in ages 3 to 5, it helps children to feel safe, confident, and capable. It helps to strengthen relationships, it encourages learning for them, and it lays the groundwork for a lifetime of emotional and social skills. So if we're going through these different ones here, we have social connection. We can spend time playing with family and other children, encourage sharing and taking turns, and talking about feelings with trusted adults. It helps children to feel safe and loved. It builds these early friendship skills and reduces fear and or loneliness. Mental stimulation, reading stories together, encouraging pretend play and imaginative games, Introduce age-appropriate puzzles or counting games. This helps to support their brain growth and curiosity. It helps them to build problem-solving skills and language skills, and it encourages their creativity. Stress management. Teach simple breathing or relaxation games. Encourage quiet time, reading, soft music. Use play to work through big emotions. This helps children to calm down, it reduces frustration and anxiety, and it does help support their emotional regulation. Sleep help. It is so important to maintain a consistent bedtime routine with them. And we want a quiet, dark, and comfortable sleeping environment, and it's really important to limit the screen time before bed too. And that goes for everyone, not just children. But this helps to support growth and energy, and improves mood and attention, and it helps learning and memory. Emotional support. We want to acknowledge and name children's emotions. We want to offer comfort and reassurance when they're upset, and we want to encourage them to express their feelings through words. One thing that can help them a lot is through drawing or play as well. And it helps them to build emotional understanding for themselves. It teaches them healthy ways to cope with their feelings, and it helps to reduce the amount of tantrums and or fear that they experience. Purpose and routine. It's important to keep predictable daily routines for meals, play, bedtime. It's helpful to give them small tasks or responsibility as well. For example, setting the table or tidying up their toys before bed or something like that. And we want them to participate in their favorite activities. This helps to provide security and stability. It builds confidence and independence, and it encourages positive habits for them. And then professional help, if it's something that you want to consider at this point. Well, the regular pediatric checkups and vaccinations, always recommended. We want to seek advice from doctors or early childhood specialists if there are concerns that arise. And at these appointments, the well child checks, we're more than happy to discuss behavior, sleep, and any emotional concerns as well. Because this helps to detect early issues, it supports healthy growth and development, and encourages help seeking when needed for them. All right, elementary school. So ages 5 to 11. So diet for this age. Just some tips. Variety is key. We want to offer different colors and textures daily. We want balance over the week. Some treats are fine. Focus on their overall pattern of eating. Involve children in meal prep. Kids are more likely to try foods that they help prepare. Portion sizes. Use child-sized portions, and then it's important to note that growth and appetite vary daily, especially in this group, depending on how active they were throughout the day and things like that. And then we really want to try and limit sugary drinks, and note that water and milk should be the main beverages at this point. So for example, milk and dairy, we want 2 to 2.5 cups, grains, 5 to 6 ounces, fruits, 1 to 2 cups, vegetables, 1.5 to 2.5 cups, protein, 4 to 5 ounces, and then of course, incorporating those healthy fats every day. At this point, hopefully kids are liking some of the fatty fish like salmon too, and incorporating that can really help. That's a great source of protein and healthy fat for them. Exercise. So at this age, again, physical activity should still be fun and varied while supporting growth, strength, coordination, and healthy habits. So for example, we're moving into different categories here, as you can see. So we have more aerobic cardiovascular, like running, biking, swimming, jump rope, soccer, basketball, things that they would do throughout recess and things like that at school. We want 60 minutes or greater per day, and this can be spread out throughout the day too, not all at once. And then muscle strengthening, honestly, them climbing on the playground equipment, in gym class, trying modified push-ups, things like that. Gymnastics is a wonderful source for muscle strengthening. Animal walks again, tug of war. Um, it can be part of daily activity, but ideally, 3+ days a week of this. Bone strengthening. That's also part of muscle strengthening, but children jumping, hopping, skipping, running, sports like basketball, soccer, they're all helping to strengthen their bones too. And again, we want this three more days a week. Flexibility and stretching. So catching large balls, throwing at targets, playing with balloons, obstacle courses with small tasks, that's all helping with their flexibility, stretching, and balance and coordination, like balance beams, hopping on one foot, obstacle courses, martial arts, that's wonderful, and ball games. All right, and then some overall tips here. Break it into segments. Multiple 10 to 15-minute sessions are fine. It doesn't have to be continuous. Make it fun for them. Games and play encourage consistent movement. We want a variety for them. We want outdoor play. We want to try to limit screen time again, less than 2 hours a day. Take movement breaks when on screens, and we want to be safe as well. So age-appropriate equipment, proper footwear, supervision for climbing, ball games. All right. And then mental health at this age. For social connection, well, first of all, supporting mental health in this age group, it helps children to feel safe, confident, and capable. It supports their learning, it builds strong relationships, and it lays the groundwork for emotional resilience that carries into later life. So for social connection, spending time playing with family and friends, joining school clubs, teams, group activities. These all help to feel children feel safe and loved. It builds friendship skills and reduces feelings of loneliness. For mental stimulation, reading books, exploring stories, doing puzzles, having them ask questions and explore new things. This all improves their thinking and learning. It sparks curiosity and imagination, and it helps them to build problem-solving skills. Stress management, this is a big one. Teaching calming activities like deep breathing, stretching, mindful movements, encouraging outdoor play and exercise, and taking breaks from homework or screens. It reduces worry and frustration, it helps kids handle big emotions, and it supports emotional balance. Sleep help. Keep a consistent bedtime routine. Again, limit screens before bed and make it a quiet and comfortable area for them. This helps to support their growth and energy and improves their mood and attention, and it helps their memory and learning. Emotional support. Encourage children to talk about their feelings, use books, stories, or play to explore emotions, and listen without judgment and provide reassurance for them. This helps them to build emotional understanding, it reduces fear and worry, and it helps children cope with different challenges that they experience. Purpose and routine. Keeping a predictable schedule for them, giving small responsibilities at home, and encouraging hobbies and activities that they enjoy doing too. It provides structure for them and security. It helps them to build confidence and independence, and encourages positive habits. And then professional. Going to scheduled regular checkups with doctors and dentists, talking to school counselors or pediatrician if there are worries about emotions or behavior, and learn about healthy habits for the body and mind, which is a lot of what we're going over here too. But this ultimately helps to detect issues early on. It supports overall health and growth and encourages children to ask for help when needed. All right, middle school. Middle school is rough. It's a rough time. But here are some things to go over with this age group, 11 to 14. So diet. This is really designed to support their growth, puberty, brain development, and activity needs. Portion and energy needs vary depending on their sex, male or female, activity level, and growth rate. We want to encourage a variety. Different colors of fruits and veggies support overall nutrient intake. We want a balanced plate. For example, half plate fruits, veggies, 1/4 protein, 1/4 greens is a great way to look at it. Calcium and vitamin D, really crucial for bone growth during early adolescence. Protein helps to support growth and muscle development. Healthy snacks, important for active kids, including fruits, nuts, yogurt, whole grains. We want to try to limit sugary drinks and fast food because it can displace healthier options for them to eat. And then we want to involve them. We want to let them help choose and prepare their meals because this helps them to build independence and lifelong habits as well. So as you can see here, we have the different food groups. Milk, dairy, we're increasing to about 3 cups at this age. Grains, 6 to 8 ounces. Fruits, 1.5 to 2 cups. Veggies, 2 to 3 cups. Protein, 5 to 6 ounces. And healthy fats, again, included every day. For exercise at this age group, they're in early adolescence at this point. So physical activity should support their cardiovascular fitness, their strength, their bone health, flexibility, and coordination, all while being fun and still age appropriate for them. So for example, a lot of kids are getting into sports at this age. So for their cardiovascular exercise, soccer, basketball, jump rope, they're all great for kids. And then again, the recommendations are still very similar, 60 minutes or greater per day. And we want to break up the activity. Multiple bouts of 10 to 15 minutes are fine. Total should ultimately, hopefully, reach about the 60 minutes or more daily. For muscle strengthening, their body weight exercises, push-ups, squats, planks, gymnastics, wonderful, wonderful. Monkey bars, climbing. We want this 3 or more days a week. Bone strengthening, jumping, skipping rope, basketball. Again, 3+ days a week. Flexibility stretching. We have the yoga, dynamic stretches before activity, which hopefully if they're in sports or gym class, they're being taught how to do these types of stretches. And then again, the static stretches after activity then. And we want this honestly daily. They're stretching, flexibility, really important for lifelong longevity. And then balance and coordination. Hopscotch is great, balance beam, ball games, martial arts, things like that. And then we want this to be, I would say, if not daily, like 3+ days a week. And then some overall tips for this. Like I said, breaking up the activity, encouraging a variety for them, incorporate a lot of this into their sports and games, for example, during gym class or after school. Really important to encourage safety at this time too, such as the proper footwear, age-appropriate equipment, and then supervision for all climbing or ball activities. And then we want to limit sedentary time. And really, we're encouraging lifelong habits at this point. And we want these activities to be enjoyable for them and not forced. Okay. All right, mental health here for this age group. So it's especially important for ages 11 to 14 because this is a time of rapid physical, emotional, and social changes for a lot of children. How mental health is supported during this years can affect confidence, learning, relationships, and long-term well-being. Social connection. One thing I do want to say about this before I forget is to be careful with online relationships. Parents really want to be aware of what kids are doing online, if they have social media and things like that, because it's scary what can go on there with people having fake accounts, etc., trying to get connection to kids. So just something to look out for. But some tips with social connection too are include spending time with friends and family, joining clubs, sports, and then talking to trusted adults when needed. It helps them to reduce feelings of loneliness. It helps them to build strong friendships, and it helps them to feel safe and supported. Mental stimulation. We want them to stay curious and ask questions, especially at school, reading books, exploring new hobbies that they might be interested in. This helps them to improve focus and learning and boost their confidence, supports problem solving skills. Stress management, practice deep breathing, relaxation techniques, taking breaks from homework and screens, and spending time outdoors is a big one too. This can help reduce anxiety and tension. It helps manage school or social stress, which typically occurs at this age group. And then it helps to support their emotional balance. Their sleep health, we want them to go to bed and wake up at the same time generally, helps them to create a good routine, limit screens before bed as always. And then this sleep is really important for mood and attention. It helps their growth and energy levels, and it supports brain development. Emotional support, really important to share feelings with trusted teachers, friends, parents. They can draw, write, or talk about their emotions, and then we want them to be able to ask for help when they're upset or worried. It helps them to build emotional understanding, it reduces worry and stress, and it encourages healthy coping skills. Purpose and routine. This is helpful if they're in school because they're following these daily routines at school and then at home. We can set small goals for them with homework, grades, hobbies, or sports that they're in. And we want them to participate in meaningful activities for them. This helps to provide stability and structure, it builds self-confidence, and encourages responsibility and motivation for them. Really important to continue to see doctors for regular checkups, school counselors, health professionals if needed, and then learn about healthy habits. And again, it helps to detect issues early on, it supports physical and mental health, and encourages them to ask for help when needed. Okay. Moving on to high school, 14 to 19. I know most kids typically graduate at 18, but it just made the presentation a little bit smoother for me to include the 19-year-olds in this as well. All right, so diet 14 to 19. We have really the diet at this age, it's to meet their growth, puberty, cognitive development, and activity needs. Portions, again, they vary depending on their activity level, their growth rate, but this chart here helps to give like a practical framework for children at this age. So again, we want to encourage variety for them. We want them to have balanced meals. Calcium and vitamin D, still important for peak bone mass during adolescence, which I'll talk more about at the next age group. Protein and healthy fats are very important to support muscle growth, brain development. Snacks do matter. Healthy snacks can help meet the energy needs for active teens, especially if they're in after-school activities, especially physically active sports like football, soccer, etc. We really still do want them to limit the sugary drinks and fast food. And involve them in their meal planning because this is the age like right before they're going out into the real world on their own. So we want them to build like this independence and lifelong healthy habits really starting in middle school, but then high school really hammering that down for them. So again, milk and dairy, around 3 cups, grains, 6 to 10 ounces. And again, I have the examples on the side here as well. Fruits, 1.5 to 2.5 cups, veggies, 2.5 to 4 cups, protein, 5 to 6.5 ounces, and healthy fats. And then water intake, ideally 8 plus cups a day. But again, this ultimately varies with their activity level as well. All right, exercise at this age. We have cardiovascular. Again, a lot of this is the same because we're just continuing from middle school to high school. But again, a lot of activity can be combined into sports for them, such as soccer, track, basketball, hiking, tennis. And we want this for 60 minutes or greater per day. And it can be broken into different bouts of multiple sessions, of course. Muscle strengthening, such as body weight exercises, resistance bands, gymnastics. We want this 3 or more days a week. Bone strengthening, again, a lot of this is incorporated in with muscle strengthening, such as jumping, gymnastics, basketball, 3+ days a week. Flexibility stretching, yoga, wonderful. And then if they're doing sports, we want them to do the dynamic stretches before activities, static stretches after. And really, this should be part of their daily activity as well. And then balance and coordination, agility ladder, obstacle courses, martial arts, several times a week, 3+ days a week, I would say, on average, if not daily. Again, we want to encourage this variety for them so they're not getting bored. We want to incorporate sports and social activities. Team sports is a great way to think of this. Fitness classes, outdoor adventures. We still want some supervision and safety here. We want them to be performing the proper techniques, especially with weight training. We don't want them to injure themselves. And then limiting sedentary behavior, taking break from screens, standing, stretching, or moving a little bit every hour. And again, we want the activities to be enjoyable and sustainable for them. All right, and then mental health. It's really important for this age because this stage of life involves rapid brain development, emotional changes, identity formation, and increasing social and academic pressures. How mental health is supported during these years can shape well-being into adulthood. So for social connection, we want them to spend time with supportive friends and family. We want them to balance online and in-person connections. And again, being safe with who they're talking with online. Benefits of this: reduce loneliness and isolation, improves emotional support, and strengthens sense of belonging. Mental stimulation: stay engaged in school or learning activities, explore creative interests, hobbies. This helps to enhance their focus and learning. It builds their confidence and adaptability, and it supports long-term brain health. Stress management: we want to practice deep breathing or mindfulness. Staying physically active helps, and limit stress from social media. I know it's a big one right now. It reduces anxiety and the feelings of being overwhelmed. It supports their physical health and improves emotional regulation. Sleep health: we want to aim again for consistent bed and wake times, limiting screen time, and creating a calming nighttime routine really helps with this as well. And then sleep helps to improve mood and energy and enhances focus and memory, and it supports healthy growth. Emotional support: we want to talk to trusted adults or peers, learn how to express feelings through art, writing, music are great examples, and then ask for help when struggling. This encourages healthy coping for them, it reduces feelings of isolation, and it helps them to build emotional resilience. Purpose and routine: at this age, we want them to be setting short-term goals. You want them to maintain their daily routines, and we want them to participate in activities that feel meaningful for them, because this helps to provide structure and stability. It builds motivation and self-esteem, and encourages positive habits that they can take forward with them throughout their entire life. And then professional help: we want them to know how to access school counselors or health services. We want them to be able to seek help for mood, stress, or behavior changes, and learn about the different mental health resources that they have available to them in the community as well. And it's also important to keep up with the routine health checks as well with pediatricians or moving on to a primary care provider. Early support helps prevent long-term issues for them. It improves their social skills and encourages help-seeking behavior, which is what we want. All right, and then just a little blurb about screenings for the kiddos. So we have these mental health, emotional, and behavior screenings. These should ideally begin at 6, 12, 24, and 36 months during the first 3 years of their life, which alternate with developmental screenings. After age 3, annual mental health, emotional, and behavior screenings should be continued at all preventative health visits for them. At age 8, we start screening for anxiety. And then at age 12, in addition to screening for anxiety, we also will start screening for depression and suicide risk as well at the pediatric well checks. Developmental surveillance should occur at every well child visit. We have standardized screenings with different validated tools. And then this should occur again at 19, 18, and 30 months, alternating with the mental health, emotional, and behavior screenings. And then we have an autism specific screening that's recommended at 18 and 24 months as well. Other things just to consider are that at their well child checks, we do height and weight checks. At age 3, we start checking their blood pressure. Vision check should occur every 2 years after age 3. Hearing every 2 years after age 3. Dental every 6 months after age 3. And then one thing to consider is that we should screen lipid screening, which is for cholesterol. It should occur once between ages 9 to 11 to help identify with familial hypercholesteremia, so high cholesterol from a genetic component. I do understand that at the age of 9 to 11, it's very hard to have kids sit for a blood draw. So this screening can also be performed between the ages of 17 and 19 as well, and then occasionally throughout their 20s. And then vaccinations are recommended as per CDC recommendations. Okay. All right, moving on to the young adults, those in the 20 to 39 year bracket. All right. So this age range we call young adult. Nutrition needs support maintaining energy, a healthy weight, reproductive health, and long-term chronic disease prevention. Variety. So we want you to continue eating a variety. We want the balanced plate. So for example, half veggies, fruits, 1/4 protein, 1/4 greens. We want healthy fats. We want protein to support muscle maintenance and energy. We want fiber, which is included in whole grains, fruits, veggies, beans. We want to limit processed foods. We want to reduce added sugar, salt, and refined grains. We want to drink water regularly and adjust for activity level, climate, and overall health status. And meal prep. Meal prep is a great way to help maintain healthy eating habits despite a busy lifestyle as well. So daily amounts for milk and dairy, about 3 cups, grains, 6 to 8 ounces, and whole grains are best. Fruit, about 2 cups, veggies, 2.5 to 3 cups, protein, 5 to 6.5 ounces, and of course those healthy fats. Exercise. So the focus is on overall health with your cardiovascular fitness, your muscle and bone strength, flexibility, and mental well-being. So let's get into the cardiovascular portion. A lot of people at this point take up brisk walking, running, cycling. Swimming is a great way to get this too. That's low impact on your joints. Hiking, dancing, group fitness classes. Exercise at this point is really about finding what you like to do and what you're going to do consistently. Recommended duration is 150 to 300 minutes a week of moderate intensity, or 75 to 150 minutes a week of vigorous intensity. Again, we can also spread this throughout the week in bouts of 10 minutes or more too. Muscle training or muscle strengthening. Weight training, great way. Resistance bands, body weight exercises such as push-ups, squats, lunges, planks. Calisthenics are really popular right now too. Functional fitness, yoga with a strength focus. Pilates is really big. They tend to incorporate weights into that too. And we want muscle strengthening 2 or more days a week at least. And I want to talk about why muscle weight training is really important for your overall health in your 20s. It's really important for bone health specifically because your peak bone density actually occurs in your late 20s, and it's really difficult to get net gains in your bone density in your 30s due to how bone remodeling works at that point. So in your 30s, you're not really able, it's very difficult to get any net gains with your bone density. After your 20s, your late 20s, you're really just maintaining your bone density at that point. And the way that you can actually strengthen your bones is through weight training and working your muscles, because your muscles put strain on your bones, and then that is how you increase your bone density. So it's really important to have a focus on weight training throughout your 20s, so that way you can really focus on your bone health and longevity throughout the rest of your life then too. So again, the bone strengthening, then part of muscle strength training. And then flexibility stretching. I would recommend this daily, honestly. Yogas is a great way to get this in. And balance and coordination, such as yoga poses, Tai Chi, agility drills, and again, recommended several times a week. I would say three or more days a week. Okay. And then just some overall tips to go along with exercising. Strength training, we want to include all major muscle groups: legs, back, chest, arms, core. Flexibility, stretching before and after workouts, really important. Bone health, weight-bearing activities. Balance and coordination, it helps prevent injuries and improves functional fitness. And lifestyle integration, for example, using the stairs instead of taking the elevator, walking and biking for short trips instead of driving your car, and moving regularly throughout the day. All right, mental health. It's really important for adults between the ages of 20 to 39 because this period of life shapes identity, your habits, your relationships, and your long-term well-being. Challenges faced during these years can strongly influence mental, emotional, and physical health for decades to come. And I know that, for example, in rural areas, the social connection part can be a bit difficult, and it's hard to make new friends. So I just want to put out there that there are different apps. So there are dating apps, but then there are apps now. For example, Bumble has one for you to meet friends, actually, meet people that you have common interest with and that you could become good friends with. So that's just an option too, if that's something that you're struggling with. But yeah, so your social connection, you're building and maintaining supportive friendships, important to balance the online and in-person relationships. A great way to meet new people too is to join clubs, teams, or community groups. It helps to reduce your loneliness and isolation and improves emotional support and a strengthened sense of belonging. Mental stimulation. Pursue education or career skills. Read, write, and problem solve regularly. Explore creative hobbies. This helps to enhance focus and learning and builds confidence and adaptability, and it actually helps to support long-term brain health. Stress management's a big one. Take breaks from social media. Engage in regular physical activity. And it's really important to establish work-life boundaries. All of these things can help to reduce anxiety and burnout, improve your emotional regulation, and support physical health. Sleep health. Maintain consistent sleep and wake times, limit screen use before bed, avoid caffeine and alcohol late at night, and create this calming bedtime routine. It helps to improve energy and concentration, and enhances mood and memory, and it supports immune and mental health. Emotional support. Share feelings with trusted people, seek peer professional support when needed, practice self-compassion. It helps to build emotional resilience, reduces feelings of overwhelm, and encourages healthy coping skills. Purpose and routine. Set personal and career goals, create daily routines that support balance, engage in meaningful activities or volunteering. Increases motivation and direction, it reduces uncertainty and stress, and it helps build long-term satisfaction. And professional help. It's really important to continue with routine medical and mental health checkups, addressing stress, anxiety, or mood changes early on before they worsen, and then learn when and how to seek help. Because early intervention prevents long-term issues, it improves self-awareness and health outcomes, and it supports sustainable well-being. All right, middle-aged adults, 40 to 64. All right, so nutrition at this stage really focuses on maintaining muscle mass, bone health, heart health, stable blood sugar, and preventing chronic disease while adjusting for a naturally slowing metabolism at this stage. We really want to aim for a balanced plate. So for example, half veggies, 1/4 lean protein, 1/4 whole grains. We want to choose anti-inflammatory foods such as fruits, veggies, nuts, fish. We want to stay consistent with hydration because as we age, our thirst receptors actually decrease. So it's really important to consciously think about, have I had enough water today? And then regular meals help to manage energy and blood sugar too. So for example, milk, dairy, we have the 2.5 to 3 cups. Grains, we have 5 to 7 ounces, mostly whole grains again. Fruits, 1.5 to 2 cups. Veggies, 2.5 to 3 cups, 3.5 cups. Protein, 5 to 6 ounces, and then our healthy fats. Exercise. At this stage, exercise really supports heart health, muscle preservation, bone density, joint mobility, balance, and mental well-being, while helping to prevent chronic disease. Remember that all of these can be altered too, depending on your overall health and activity levels. So for your cardiovascular health, a lot of people like walking, and I think walking's great because it's something that's sustainable for a lot of people. Stationary cycling is really great too if you have trouble, for example, with knee pain or foot pain. And then swimming's wonderful too because it's very low impact on the joints, but it still gets your heart rate up. Recommended duration, honestly, 5 days a week and just 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Remember to warm up and cool down before exercises as well. Muscle strengthening. We have chair squats, wall push-ups, resistant bands, light weights, 2 to 3 days a week. Bone strengthening. I know that they have bone builder classes for people who struggle with osteoporosis, and that's wonderful. But walking, stair climbing, heel raises, gentle marching, a lot of this again is part of your muscle strengthening, but we want this to occur 2 to 3 days a week. Flexibility and stretching. Hamstring stretches, calf stretches, parts of your body that incorporate a lot of stress. And for a lot of people, that's your trapezius muscles, so around your neck. So stretching those areas really helps too. And we want to incorporate this daily. And for balance and coordination, single leg, heel to toe walks, side leg raises, and we want this daily. Some overall tips at this stage of life. Again, warm up before exercise, cool down after. Use chairs or walls for support during balance work. We want to avoid jerky or fast movements. That's how a lot of people I see end up with when they end up like pulling their back or something, it's usually because of a jerky or fast movement that they did. And it's important to stop immediately if pain, dizziness, or shortness of breath occurs. We want to be very well aware of how we're feeling during exercise. And then if you ever have questions, I know, for example, I see patients and they're like, do you think that this type of exercise would be good for me? And that's always something that we're happy to answer for you. And I'm also always more than happy to put in referrals for physical therapy for different health conditions as well, because physical therapy is wonderful. All right, mental health at this age. So at this point, usually we're maintaining friendships despite busy schedules. It's important to schedule regular family and friend time, and it's important to join community, professional, or interest groups. It really helps to reduce loneliness and isolation and improves emotional support, protects against depression. Mental stimulation. It's important to continue to learn new skills and pursue continuing education if that's something you're interested in. It's important to continue reading, writing, problem solving, and to try new hobbies or creative outlets. It helps improve focus and memory, it supports long-term brain health, and increases your confidence and adaptability. Stress management. Practice mindfulness or deep breathing, set boundaries at work, engage in physical activity, take regular breaks and vacations. This helps to lower anxiety and burnout. It improves your emotional regulation, and it actually does support your heart and immune health. Sleep health. Again, limiting screen time, reducing caffeine, alcohol, creating this calming bedtime routine, and maintaining consistent sleep-wake schedules. It honestly does really help to improve your energy and productivity. It enhances your mood and concentration, and it reduces risk of chronic health issues. Emotional support. Share feelings with trusted people, seek peer or support groups, practice self-compassion, and consider journaling or general reflection. It strengthens your emotional resilience, it reduces feelings of overwhelm, and encourages healthy coping. Purpose and routine. We want to set personal and professional goals. We want to balance work, family, and personal time, which I know can be very difficult. We want to volunteer or mentor others. A lot of people find a lot of joy and purpose in that, and maintain our daily routines. Ultimately, these all help to increase motivation and life satisfaction. They provide structure during life transitions, and it helps to prevent burnout once again. And then professional help. Really important to continue scheduling regular medical checkups, even if it's just an annual visit. We want to address mental and health concerns early. Review medications and lifestyle habits, and then seek counseling or coaching if needed. This can all help to identify early signs of mental health issues, better stress and mood management, and improve overall quality of life. All right, and then last age group, the seniors, 65 plus. All right, so diet at this age. Nutrition at this stage really focuses on maintaining muscle mass, bone strength, immune health, digestion, hydration, and preventing chronic disease, while accounting for lower calorie needs and possible medical conditions that have arisen. Protein is important because it helps prevent muscle loss and frailty. Calcium and vitamin D for bone health and fall prevention. Fiber supports digestion and heart health. Hydration. Again, your thirst sensation may decrease with this age, so one way to get in extra hydration is through soups, herbal teas, and it's important to drink regularly even if you don't feel like you're thirsty, because you don't want to become dehydrated. And then healthy fats help support your brain and heart health, and then we want soft, nutrient-dense foods, because these are helpful for dental or any swallowing issues that may occur at this age. So again, milk, dairy, 3 cups, grains, 5 to 6 ounces, fruits, 1.5 to 2 cups, veggies, 2.5 to 3 cups, protein 5 to 6.5 ounces, and then healthy fats included daily. And then I have the examples, of course, listed here. Exercise, physical activity supports independence, balance, bone strength, muscle mass, heart health, flexibility, and mental well-being. Activities at this point should probably be more low impact, consistent, and just something that's enjoyable for you to do. So for cardiovascular, again, walking, swimming, dancing. We want the 150 to 300 minutes a week, or the 75 to 100 minutes per week. So you can split this up throughout the day, right? Even just 20, 30 minutes a day at a time helps to get this goal of the 150 to 300 minutes per week, or the 75 to 150 minutes per week. Muscle strengthening, body weight exercises, resistance bands, Pilates. At this point, we want this to be 2 or more days a week. Bone strengthening, brisk walking, stair climbing, hiking. A lot of this, again, is part of the muscle strengthening, 2 to 3 days a week. Flexibility stretching. Ideally, we have yoga, foam rolling, and ideally this would be daily or 3 to 5 times a week. Balance and coordination, single leg stance, Tai Chi, balance poses, and we want this to be 2 to 3 times a week. And then for the tips, of course, always warm up and cool down. We want to progress gradually to avoid injury, especially if you're starting to start an exercise again. Strength training is essential to slow age-related muscle loss, which is what we call sarcopenia. And it's also important for bone strengthening. Low impact cardio, such as swimming and cycling, protects joints while maintaining fitness. And then balance exercises reduce your fall risk and improve functional movement. And then break long sitting periods with light movement, always important. And then mental health. It's just important as your physical health. Small daily habits can make a big difference in overall well-being and quality of life. So again, we have the social connection. Schedule regular calls or visits, join senior centers, clubs, faith groups, participate in group activities or classes. And again, unfortunately, this is another age group that is targeted by online scammers. So be very careful with who you're speaking with, especially if this is a person that you've never met before in person, and they're contacting you out of the blue on Facebook, wanting to be friends all of a sudden. Just please be mindful of that. But social connection, it helps to reduce loneliness and depression, supports brain health, mental stimulation, read books, newspapers, do puzzles, games, learn a new skill or hobby. It's never too late to learn something new. And this helps to maintain memory and cognition, it slows cognitive decline, and it boosts confidence and independence. Stress management. Deep breathing, gentle exercise, maintain calm daily routines, and limit stressful news exposure. It helps to lower anxiety and tension and improves emotional balance, supports heart and immune health as well. Sleep health. Keep consistent sleep and wake times, create a relaxing bedtime routine. Sleep health really helps to improve your mood and energy. It enhances memory and focus and strengthens overall health. Emotional support, talk openly with trusted people, journal feelings, seek comfort through spirituality or reflection. This helps to reduce feelings of sadness and grief. It builds emotional resilience and encourages healthy coping. Purpose and routine. It's important to maintain a daily schedule. Volunteering, mentoring are great ways to help with purpose. Caring for pets, plants, and then setting small, meaningful goals. These all help to increase motivation and self-worth. They provide structure and stability, and they enhance life satisfaction. And then professional help. Really important to attend regular medical checkups. At your regular medical checkups, we often will do mental health screenings. We will review your medications, and then it's also important to seek counseling or therapy when needed. And again, these all help to detect early issues, better management of mental health, and improve quality of life. All right, and then just some screenings for the adults. At your annual visits or routine follow-ups, we'll always check your blood pressure. We typically will start screening for cholesterol regularly at age 40 or earlier. If there are certain risk factors present, we typically will screen for diabetes. And then I like to always screen the thyroid too, because that can have an impact on a lot of different health systems within your body. So I usually do that through a TSH. Cancer screenings. We start colorectal cancer screening through colonoscopy or Cologuard at age 45, typically through 75. We'll usually start screening for breast cancer with mammograms at ages 50 through 74. Cervical cancer screenings, we start doing PAPs at age 21 and we go through 65, generally speaking. And then prostate health for prostate cancer. This is often just shared decision making now. Oftentimes we'll screen for prostate cancer with a PSA instead of the true rectal exam now. But again, that's shared decision making and also dependent on how the practitioner was taught to through their training. Infectious diseases, HIV is recommended at least once for ages 15 to 65. Hepatitis C, usually one-time screening for adults born between 1945 and 65. And then we screen for sexually transmitted infections based on risk. We'll typically do a bone density screening, such as a DEXA for women 65 plus. For smoking, if there's ever been a smoking status, we'll typically screen for a AAA or an abdominal aortic aneurysm using an ultrasound, and this is just a one-time ultrasound for men aged 65 to 75 who have ever smoked. And then for people who have, for adults aged 50 to 80 who have a 20-pack year smoking history and currently smoke or have quit within the past 15 years, it's recommended to do an annual low-dose CT scan of the chest just to screen for lung cancer. All right, so key takeaways here. We have your mental health, exercise, diet, and screenings. These all work together to help you with longevity throughout your life and healthy living, right? Yeah, so any questions then?
We did have one question in the chat.
Okay.
So let me just read that to you. This one's from Jen. For a 15-year-old boy who's into weightlifting and influenced by social media body standards, how can parents support appropriate calorie intake for muscle growth and maintenance while also promoting healthy attitudes towards food and body image?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's really difficult right now because on social media, there is a big trend with weightlifting, and you have these guys who are like just jacked with like their muscles and everything. And I think it's really important to note that for a 15-year-old boy, that he's not going to look like that. And a lot of these influencers online are not natural. And what I mean by that is that they are not gaining these muscles and becoming ripped like that through purely exercise and diet. A lot of them are doing steroids. So I think that it's just really important to mention that and to help your son understand that as well. But for him, one thing that is really helpful now is that we do have all these apps, right? So for example, there's like MyFitnessPal, LifeSum is a good one too, where you can put in your age and then you can put in what your goals are, and then it helps you to track your macros. So macros are protein, carbs, and fats. And it helps you track your diet basically to get whatever your goals are. So for him, I'm sure it's more so building muscle mass and things like that. So apps like that can really help guide um, what your diet should look like and what macros should look like for him too, especially with his age range. Did that help answer the question?
Yeah, she said exactly what we tell him, and thank you. She never thought about the app solution for him to kind of have someone else telling him what would be healthy ranges and what isn't. So good.
Yeah, and then another thought that I have with that is that the apps like will give you like an idea of like what your goals should be for the day, like with your diet. Um, but one way I know like AI is like a big thing right now, but you can put in, say, okay, these are my macros for the day. Can you give me like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner meal that would meet these macros? And then it'll give you like the recipes for them and like the exact amounts of, like, for example, like a chicken breast of like 5 to 6 ounces for a protein goal of like 30 grams. So that's another thing too to help with meals. And I struggle with that too, with coming up with like, oh, what meals do I want to eat this week? So I will use ChatGPT to help me with meal planning and stuff like that.
A great suggestion. That was the only question in the chat. So, I
Oh,
mean, I think this presentation was very informational and helpful to all of our members, and I appreciate their time today.
yeah, I'm sorry that I went over time a bit.
That's okay. That's okay. It was great information, and you really did cover all the age ranges. And as I mentioned in the chat, we're going to be sending out the recording as well as the slide deck after the fact so everyone can have it as a reference. So once again, Tori, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. We'll see ya.
Great. Bye, everybody.
Bye.